Welcome back to Core Motivations Podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Connolly. I'm a certified Enneagram coach and a Symbis marriage coach. Perhaps this is your first time joining us. I'm really happy you found us. I hope you're as excited as I am that you've committed to growth through this podcast. I can't believe it. We are now into our second year together. So many changes, so many paths towards transformation, new rhythms, and leaning into self-love and changing that inner critic. You know what? Last week I shared some of my lessons learned as a podcaster. I learned that every bit of movement counts, whether it's baby stepping or a giant steps, as long as it's forward movement. The truth is, it's a journey. It's not a short distance race. Rather, it's a marathon to which we must make sure we have all the things to help us navigate these paths of life. I learned that doing something scared is far better than not doing it at all. I brought to the table some best practices for each 9 types. Which one did you use? We have all heard, well, most of us, of the term clean eating. So as an Enneagram 2, I love the example of clean giving. That is being aware of what my own needs are before helping others. And in turn, setting boundaries for myself, ensuring I'm not helping out of this deep need for validation. Many of the best practices that we talked about last week presented this continued idea of pausing and checking in with yourself by utilizing your awareness skills, being aware of yourself and your surroundings. And of course, that includes the people you're around. In some ways, awareness is like bumpers or that rumble strip that we've talked about, which leads us to today. I often listen to a pastor by the name of Daryl, and he is in or around the Tampa, Florida area. And his most recent posts, which he does a lot of that on Instagram and TikTok, I found his perspective continues to contribute to this awareness that we've been talking about. The way he describes this pause, then gives this piece of advice. It really caused me to double take. In fact, I think this is the bookend to our journey of self-awareness, and it solidifies this aspect of transformation while connecting it to many aspects of life. Now, before anyone gets squirrely, please keep in mind that he does briefly talk about God, but that being said, I ask you to listen with an open mind. This is not about Christianity or spirituality, meaning I'm not sharing this with you to talk about God per se. It's really about this message itself and utilize it as it fits your personal journey.
One of the best pieces of advice I've heard in a long time is that you are under no obligation to be the same person that you were yesterday. But that's it for a moment. That means your past doesn't get to vote on your future. Your mistakes don't get the final word. And yesterday's version of you doesn't get to define today's decision. And this isn't about pretending the past didn't happen. It's about realizing you're not stuck there. So growth is a choice. And you get to make that choice every single day. And you can choose to be the person God is shaping you into, not just the person that you've been. You can choose better habits and better thoughts, better boundaries for sure, and better leadership. You can decide to work on what's broken, strengthen what's weak, and release what no longer fits who you're becoming. Transformation isn't one big moment, it's a daily decision. The Bible says his mercies are new every morning, which means you wake up with new permission to begin every morning. So today, you don't have to carry yesterday's labels. You don't have to repeat yesterday's patterns, and you don't have to live out yesterday's limitations. You can grow. You can change. You can become. You're not obligated to stay where you were. You are invited and to step into who you are becoming. And that's good news.
So here's a recap of what Daryl shared. He talked about you being under no obligation to be the same person you were yesterday. Because in fact, your past doesn't get to vote on your future. And mistakes, they don't get the final word. Yesterday's version doesn't get to define today's decision. We don't have to stay stuck in the past. It happened, for sure. However, growth is a choice that you get to make. Daryl says, choose better habits, better boundaries, and strengthen what is weak, and focus on the who you are becoming. Because transformation, it's a daily decision. It's a daily practice. It's new permissions, as he said. You don't have to relive or live out yesterday. In fact, there's this invitation into who you are becoming. I don't think I could have said it any better than how he presented it. It truly is to the point and focused about the choice that we either walk in this strict parameters of yesterday, the hang-ups, hurts, and habits, or we choose to walk in the who you are meant to be, the person who is moving towards transformation. So when we press into these aspects, it can help us to live out the healthy aspect of our Enneagram type. It can help us move out of that blind spot and into the clear path or the converging path. So here's another way to think about it. We either are in this static movement, which is no movement, or transformation, where we're shifting from fixed, unchanging state to this dynamic, evolving one. So here's my question to you. Do you let yesterday decide what happens for your future, staying static, or choosing transformation and checking out the paths that lead you there, believing that you have a choice? So what will you choose? And with that, one of our favorite times of the podcast, the legal stuff. This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute professional advice. This podcast is not a substitute for medical care. The materials, movies, videos, or books referred to in this podcast are recommendations only. The views expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the podcast host. That's me or sponsors. Join me each week as we dive into all things Enneagram, self-care ideas, self-love patterns, and rhythms. Share ideas from other reputable authors, doctors, and my favorite podcasters. A big thank you to you for being here with me today on Core Motivations Podcast. I don't know if you know, but we are counting on you to spread the word about Core Motivations. So hit the follow button, share this episode with someone, and please leave a review. I have to admit, I am really loving those 5 stars. I don't know if you knew this, but it's really helping people find us. You can find me, Michelle, on Instagram at coremotivations_coach or through email, michelle@coremotivationscoach.com. So let me leave you with this. Until next time, and as always, I'm rooting for you.